narrow door, so it was a little tough for the bus to go out. But luckily we have a great pilot, and it was not a problem. So we are now descending what is called the Mons Janiculum. This is one of the hills of Rome, not the 7 hills. 7 hills is the typical number. 7 is a magic number of Rome, but the hills are a little bit more. But it's funny because this is where the Etruscans came to live in the 7th century BC. And you know what? The Etruscans wanted to approach the city of Rome. The Romans said to them, no, you can't live there. And so they lived in this place. They lived on that hill. And the hill, which is the hill what today is the Vatican, was called the Vaticanum, Vatican, because they used to make the prediction of the future, killing a sheep, taking the liver of the sheep, reading the liver, making the prophecy that in the Etruscan language was called the Vaticinum. Hello? You follow me? That's the origin of the word Vatican, from Vaticinum. And those of you who speak Spanish probably know that in Spanish and in Italian, Vaticino and vaticinar means predict the future. So this is the origin of the name Vatican. Since we're speaking with some of you, what's the origin of the word that seems, the holy hill, place where the Pope lives, where Peter was buried? No. This is just because of a creepy operation of killing a sheep. Capish?
Yeah.
There you go. Capish. Then on your left side, the river Tiber, and many bridges crossing the river, about 25 bridges crossing it. We are riding on this side, we cross it now, and on your left side, you can give a look at the view. Okay. Nice buildings over there. On the right side, it's a calm river. If you give a look at the right side, you can see that the level of the street is a lot lower. You see how low that is? That is the city level in Rome until the 1800s. When Rome became the capital city of Italy in the 19th century, exactly in 1870, one of the projects was to raise the banks of the river to protect the city from the floods. This is another church, one church designed by Michelangelo, another church. It's the Church of San Giovanni dei Fiorentini. That's a church of the Florentine community in Rome in the 1500s. If you now give a look, you can see in a few seconds, you can see the Castle of St. Angel. On your left side, ladies and gentlemen, you have this huge building, which is a fortress now, built to be the mausoleum and the tomb of Emperor Hadrian in the year 130 more or less. And it has been transformed into a fortress by the popes in the Middle Ages. When the Pope on the left side decided to build 4 watchtowers, as you can see on the right, left and behind, and then he made this big construction that became his house. When the Pope felt the danger of someone who wanted to kill him, he used to run on a corridor that is called Passito, that is connecting still today the Apostolic Palace of the Pope to the Castle of St. Angel. I am sure that you have seen it in the movie Angels and Demons, so you know what I'm talking about. When Emperor Hadrian built the mausoleum, he also built a bridge, which is the bridge on the left side. This bridge in 1300 collapsed because of the big amount of people that were crossing the bridge, the bridge to go to the area of St. Peter's Church, and so this bridge has been renovated later, and Bernini in 1600 sculpted and the Bridge of the Angels. Why is that called Castle of the Angels? Because in 590 after Christ, 590, Leo Magno, the Pope, led a procession of people towards St. Peter's in order to pray, to ask for the end of a big, long, strong epidemic of plague. And while walking toward the church, Pope Leo Magnus saw an angel who was putting down the sword into the sword compartment. And he realized that that was the end of the plague, that was the end of this disease that killed a lot of people, and the statue has been done to celebrate the place of the apparition of the angel. On your left side, another great monument. This is the Court of Justice of Rome. A big palace for just such a little justice in this country. Unbelievable. This building has been built in the 19th century after the unification of Italy. The problem with the architect who committed suicide is that he did not realize the too close the vicinity to the river. So after he built this huge, massive, heavy building, it started to sink. And that was very dangerous, so they had to evacuate it back in 1970. So about a century later, the building was inaccessible because it was sinking and it was really dangerous. So they evacuated the court of... We have 3 levels of judgment in Italy, and that is the last one. We don't like this palace. In Rome we call it Palazzaccio, the bad palace.
Get back home, you just transferred, I guess, and the card before. Such a...
Give your key to the front desk.
If you give a look to the right, you have a church built in the 19th century, and listen, something completely modern. The building on your right, with these blocks of turkey marble, with the glass, encloses an ancient Roman monument built in the year 27 before Christ. It's called the Altar of Peace. This is on the right side, the Altar of Peace, done to make peace between Emperor Augustus, the first emperor, and all the Roman provinces that were conquered by Julius Caesar and by his ancestors at the Republican times. Emperor Augustus decided to make a peace, to make these people understand that once they were submitted to the Romans, they were still with their own identity. That was one of the most intelligent things he could make. He allowed them to keep their language, to spend their money, to keep their language as long as they could speak Latin, and they could spend one currency all over the Roman Empire. The monument is called Altar of Peace. It's open to the public, and it shows many decorations carved in the marble about the ancestors of the Romans, Romulus and Remus, and a lot more things related to the Roman tradition. And then we are now on this side of the river where our hotel is, and we are on the way to the hotel. We don't have a lot of time for lunch, but we will have a place where you can eat your lunch quickly without rushing and having a good selection of things. If you follow what I'm saying, if you want my suggestion, I'm very happy to help you. If you just want to relax and don't eat much or whatever, I would say that out of the hotel to the left side, to the main street, which is Via Veneto, you go down 2 streets, and 2 streets to the right, that is where you find this deli place. It's a place that I recommend. Why? Because they're fast. Today, this Saturday, the offices are closed. So they will be dedicating their attention just and only to you. The place offers a selection of things for lunch, that even if, being Saturday, they don't cook the whole menu, there's something, definitely vegetables, definitely a pasta, definitely something in meat that you can have. You point out what you want, and they can put on the scale, and then they give it to you right away without having any extra time to wait. It is really a good place. If you want, that's the best. If you don't want to walk too much, but you want to stay close, out of the hotel, at the corner left, and then left again, and then right, I'll show you when we get there, you find a cafe which is called Leon. The Leon Cafe offers you a dish of pasta or something like a salad fast. You can sit quickly to eat. It's closer, there's less choice, it's also nice, and it's also a cafe where they may have some panini or some pastries and something like that. There is another cafe at the corner in front of it, which has few things like panini, sandwich, things like that. Easy. And there is the pizza place, Alice Pizza Place. So plenty of places where you can eat something, grabbing something to eat, and then you can relax a little bit before going for the optional tour. Let me remind to everybody that tonight we leave at 6 p.m. 6:15 to go out for dinner, and we go to dinner to Trastevere. The dress code for tonight will be casual, and absolutely no problem as long as you have comfortable shoes. We're not going to walk too much, but we're going to visit if it is open, and if there is no wedding, we're going to give a look, just a quick look at the Church of Santa Cecilia, which is really a very nice church. And here on the right side, guess what it is? You have seen it already. This is a taste. This is the ancient city wall with the gate done by Michelangelo. Under Pope Pius IV, when Michelangelo was already over 70 years of age, he designed the outside of the city gate.
Lisa. So that I think, man. So what time do you have to leave?
Yes, signora, this is the Borghese Park.
Two?
Nice, largest park with a horse track. 2 museums, a lot of boulevards, places where people can jog, and a lot of them do, and cafes. It's a beautiful place. Allora, on the right side, this is the main street. Down the main street, along the street with the beautiful magnolia trees. On the right side, the first street is the pizza place Alice, and down to the right, the second to the right, that is called Gargani Place. If you wish, I can show you physically from here. I show you exactly where to go.
So we're going to the pizza place.
Let's go to the pizza here. It's right there.
Ladies and gentlemen, do not forget anything on board because we might not have the same driver.